Arguably the most important skill in the entire game of disc golf if you want to score better and win more is putting. If you want to take your game to the next level and lower your scores quickly and rapidly, it's right here on the putting green that you need to make some improvements. Today I'm going to give you 5 tips, tricks, and secrets to become a better putter. So the first secret to improve your putting is to have a consistent routine. And that word consistent is absolutely key. One of the most important pieces of being a great putter is consistency and comfortability. So when we have the same routine every time we step up on the putting green, it helps us greatly in having a solid, easy to repeat rhythm and motion that leads to better putting. A great way to think about this is like a free throw shooter in basketball. Every time they step up to the line, they do the exact same thing to get their body into the right posture, the muscle memory working to hit the exact same shot. In our case, the same rhythm, the same feel on the putt. So for me, when I step up to my lie, say my lie is right there, I like to swing my arms a little just so I feel my body, shake them out a touch, take a deep breath. I'll square my body up to the target. I offset my front foot, drive into the ground a little bit, 1, 2, rock, then I come down and I putt. Now the second trick to improving your putting is to build a strong base, a strong foundation with your feet. Ultimately, the power in the putt begins at the feet, begins at the ground, like the disc golf throw works its way up through the arm, elbow, shoulder, wrist, to the flick, to the final putt. So we have to begin with a strong foundation. The way that we set up our feet, the way that we set up our legs will ultimately help in both our aim and power and is an integral part of the putt. So as we're setting up, we want to be comfortable over our feet. I like to putt offset. I don't straddle putt much, although it's good to practice both. So there'll be situations where you need to straddle, even if that's not your normal go-to putt. But for the offset putt, with your feet, I generally like to have my feet about shoulder width apart. That's just a good, solid, athletic stance. Offset just a ways with that front toe kind of pointed just off of center. This feels like a really strong, neutral, powerful place. I can move side to side. I feel like I'm steady on my feet. I'm generally on the balls of my toes. This provides a lot of athleticism, both to get some spring and some power into my putt, but also just to feel comfortable and balanced. Balance is key in setting your foundation, and everything builds its way off of that. Now, tip number 3 is all about alignment. When we approach a putt, when we're squaring up to the basket, what ultimately needs to happen is our putt needs to finish with our arm extended and our hand out towards the center of the chain. So when we talk about aligning our body to the putt, ultimately, where we need to align is with the elbow and the hand, the elbow and the wrist. For most putters, whether you're straddle or you're offset, your reach backs can come into the middle of your body and then you're gonna align straight out. So when we align our bodies, we need to find that center line, line it up on the pole, and then set our feet accordingly so that when we come up and through, the hand, the elbow, the line that we're creating with our arm from the disc, straight to the heart of the chains. This will help us with our consistency left to right. As long as we get the right power and pop and hit a release point, we should find pretty close to center of the chains every time. So the fourth secret to improving your putting has to do with your grip. Now we've all had those putts that come flopping out of our hand like a dead duck and fall way short of the basket. Most of the time, that's a grip and a release issue, but the release begins with the grip. Oftentimes what happens is when we go to grip our putter, we grip mostly just with the fingers and we don't get a firm grip on the disc. When we go to release, the disc kind of flops out of our hand. When we want to grip our putters, it's important that we get our entire hand on the disc, that we have good, firm control. Usually we want to spread these 3 fingers out under the disc, and then the pointer finger is going to go somewhere on the rim. Now you have to figure out what's most comfortable for you. Some like just a little more pointed like that. Some like to really wrap that knuckle under. I find that wrapping the knuckle just a little helps me create a little more spin in the putt, but as long as I get the disc really firmly into the palm of my hand and I have really good grip over it, I'm not death gripping it, but really a pretty solid grip on the disc, I find that my release is much better with much more confidence than if I'm just sort of loosely holding it with my fingers. That's when it's likely to fall out. And finally, our fifth and final tip to mastering the putt is all about focus. It's incredibly helpful in our aim and our consistency if we pick a small singular point of focus on the basket as our aim point. Now for most of us, that's gonna be a singular chain link, or a lot of baskets have a stripe somewhere on the pole that can also be a useful reference point. Now in practice, there are a couple tools you can use. One would be something like a disc dot. It's just a small little plastic piece that clips on to a chain link easily, and that gives you a really small focus point to putt at and to try and hit, and it helps you have some feedback as to whether or not you actually hit it. Or if you don't want to spend money on a disc dot, I've found that just using a little bit of painter's tape, something colorful, blue, it could be masking tape, duct tape, I don't know, a little bit of painter's tape, very similar concept. Pick a singular chain and just put some tape on it. That way you have an aim point. You also have some feedback when the disc hits that spot. You can see it move, helps you understand if you're hitting where you're aiming. But having a singular small point of focus on your putt and then putting through that spot drastically is gonna improve your aim and your consistency on the putting green. Hey, I hope you found these putting tips and tricks helpful as you seek to improve your disc golf game. As you work through those 5 secrets, you can use those to build tip number 1, which is to build a routine for yourself as you get a firm base, as you have good alignment, as you pick a singular point of focus, as you grip the disc. Build a routine that's easy to remember, that's repeatable, that helps you feel comfortable in your body, and that can help you dial in the perfect putt. You guys are awesome. Thanks for hanging out. If you found this information helpful, useful, valuable in any way, feel free to like and subscribe if you want to. It really helps me out. My name is Andrew Wood. Remember, the journey is the destination. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.